Hello, this video is for those of you taking the Cambridge IGCSE reading paper. It's for those of you doing it in the UK, syllabus 0522, or those of you doing it abroad, syllabus 0500. Right, question one. This is a summary of all my advice for the questions from all my videos. Use three highlighter colours to highlight the bullet points in the question and then the corresponding information in the text. So yellow might be the first bullet point, pink the second bullet point, and blue the third bullet point. Use this as a tick list to write three separate sections in your answer, and that helps you group them all together, so all the yellows will go together for you in your answer, even though they won't appear together when you read the text. Use this as a tick list to make sure that you've included at least 5 points in each of those three sections. So if you've only got 3 blues highlighted, you know that 2 are missing and you've got to go back and look more deeply. Use this as a tick list to see if any ideas have been highlighted on your paper but not included in your answer. So when you've finished writing, go back and check and see which ones are still left to put in, and then put them in. Use the examiner's annotation of dev to show what development means. So this is advice to teachers, and you have to look at my videos to see what development looks like. Question 2. You may have been approaching this question logically as a literature question, looking for P paragraphs. But actually that's not what question 2 demands. The exam skill is quite different to that. So first, you've got to use the word imagery or image when you're writing, if you can't identify the simile or the metaphor or the personification. There are other references which count as imagery. They're all connected to sound. So alliteration is imagery, so's onomatopoeia, and if you know about it, assonance. Now, not every point you make has to be imagery, but you must include imagery in your answer. Right, directly after the quotation, you should write a dictionary definition of the words. So you can actually say, the dictionary definition of this is, or some of you might feel more comfortable by saying, this means that. Then directly after the dictionary definition, you should write the effect is, and then explain that. And the point of using these words, the dictionary definition and the effect is that they're in the mark scheme, and so you're guiding the examiner to give you full marks. The explanation is 1 sentence or 2. If you're doing it in 1 sentence, make sure it's a complex sentence with more than one idea in it. Or you can separate your ideas into 2 sentences. This will stop you waffling and saying much more than you need to. Really what you need to do is find the next quotation, then give the dictionary definition of it, and then the effect is, again, in another 2 sentences or 1 single complex one. It doesn't have to be developed beyond that. After the 4 quotations from the paragraph, you must write an overview using these words. The general effect is. And that again is because those words are in the mark scheme. So again, you're controlling the examiner and telling them, this is going to give me full marks, pay attention. One viewer at least has asked me if they can write more than 4 quotations. And my advice is, yes, you can, although you don't need to. If you do write more than 4 quotations, don't take longer on this question than you need to, because this question is only worth 10 marks. Question 1 is worth 20, and question 3 is also worth 20. So you would be foolish to spend too long on question 2 if it meant you didn't get question 3 done fully. And in fact, the advice I give all my students is therefore not to do question 2 second. Do question 3 second and question 2 last, because if you miss the ending off question 2, it'll cost you only 2 marks out of 10, Whereas if you miss the ending of question 3, it's likely to cost you 5 marks out of 20. So don't do it. Right, advice for question 3. As with all the questions, you need specific training on underlining the keywords in the question. And this is particularly vital in this question because it will force you to ignore lots of the factual information that is not relevant. Because you only have to find, well, you have to find the correct 15 bullet points, the correct 15 facts, and there's probably another 15 facts in your passage that are not relevant. So it's vital that you underline the keywords in the question so you know exactly which sorts of facts you're looking for. You're given 15 lines to put your bullet point answers on, and your target really is to fill that line. But remember, if you go beyond that line onto the next one, this will count as your second bullet point. So you'll only get the mark once because as a second bullet point, it'll just be repeating itself. So don't do that. Don't write any similar bullet points or linked information because this will only count for 1 mark and therefore it will waste a bullet point. Don't infer. This isn't the higher order English skills that you're used to. You don't have to work anything out. You only have to include the facts. So it is in fact an incredibly easy skill, and you'll miss these marks because you're skilled at the more difficult part of English, reading between the lines and inferring. Don't infer in this question. You infer in question 2 when you're writing about the effects, and you infer on the last bullet point, the third bullet point in question 1. So you've done your inferring, not in question 3. Please don't forget, because you will lose a huge number of marks. Code these bullet points into the 2 categories. So the question will tell you which 2 categories you're looking at. And I'd just number them 1 and 2, and therefore you can do all the 1s together and then all the 2s together, and that will help you structure your summary, which is worth 5 marks. So this will enable you to group your points together in the summary. How should you be concise? Well, you can link ideas using connectives, therefore consequently similarly just linking ideas. Another way to be concise is to have complex sentences. When you write 2 ideas in 2 sentences, you inevitably use more words, whereas if you've got 2 ideas in 1 sentence, you'll have fewer words, but you will need to use commas in your complex sentences. Make sure you hit the word limit of 200 to 250 words. It's not there as a guide, it is a rule. So don't do less than 200 words. If you have written 15 facts in under 200 words, you won't get full marks. And similarly, if you go over 250, remember not to infer. Use your own words. Do not quote. I can't stress how important this is. You will lose at least 2 marks from your summary, and you only get 5. You'll lose at least 2 if you quote. And what I haven't written down here, and I should have done, is remember the genre. It's all about the facts. Do not persuade. You're not trying to persuade anybody to go on any holidays or to experience any experiences. Whatever the task is, you're just giving the facts. And then I'll repeat my other advice. This is the last question, yet it's worth double the marks of question 2. If you run out of time on this question, it's therefore much more costly. Similarly, you will probably run out of stamina. It's a 2-hour exam, and most students I see run out of steam about an hour and a half. And if you're an unmotivated student who's revising at the last minute, especially some of the boys I teach, I'm sorry, I'm not being sexist, it's just exactly what happens. you are likely to lose marks in the last question. And so again, do it on question 2. Do that one last because you will lose fewer marks. So do this question after question 1, saving question 2 till last. So hopefully you won't need any luck in this exam now. You'll know exactly what to do. And if you'd like more tips, don't forget to subscribe.